2 a.m. in Moscow. Good to have you with us. Our top story this hour, Ukraine's interior minister and acting foreign minister have arrived at the Russian embassy in Kiev trying to calm down crowds gathered there. Radical demonstrators have been vandalizing the building for hours, accusing Russia of arming anti-government activists in the east and south. RT's Paul Scott has more from Kiev.
A number of protesters do still remain outside the building here in the Russian embassy. Now, at one stage this evening, a fire broke out. It's not clear whether it was started deliberately or by accident. And fire was a real concern, really, throughout most of the evening, most of the time that I spent there. There were a number of overturned vehicles outside the embassy building, and a lot of diesel and oil has been spilling from those cars. And at one stage, people around thought that the protesters, the demonstrators, were going to set fire to those vehicles, but in the end the fire services turned up and hosed the cars down as a preventative measure. So although the fire services were present, the police simply were not. All of this was being done without a police presence, and it seems that the Ukrainian authorities were prepared to let events unfold without the police being on the scene. Russia have asked the United Nations why exactly there was no protection for the staff working inside the embassy, staff who of course still holed up there into the night. And the United States State Department have also condemned the actions of those protesters here in Kiev. It all started earlier on Saturday. Police say around 100 protesters arrived to the Russian embassy with anti-Russia placards and shouting anti-Vladimir Putin slogans. But the atmosphere turned when the numbers began to swell and masked men from the right sector turned up. We know they were from the right sector because right sector, the red and black flags were there. And they started pelting the embassy building with paint, with eggs, and they started smashing windows and overturning the diplomats' cars. The Ukrainian flag has also replaced the Russian flag as well outside the building. That was something that the protesters did. Now, all the exits and entrances to the embassy at the moment are blocked, meaning that the embassy staff are holed up in the embassy still. RT has managed to speak to one of the people inside.
The situation is getting more tense. Protesters have turned over embassy cars parked outside. The perimeter is blocked with tyres, and the driveways are blocked with the protesters' own cars. They've torn down the Russian flag from the pole. The Ukrainian police are supposed to guard the embassy. They aren't preventing the harm being done to Russian property.
So the staff are still holed up inside the embassy, heading into the evening, and events outside of the embassy, well, although at the moment they're peaceful, they are certainly tense.